Is Mosquirix the first malaria vaccine to get the WHO's backing? This is the first malaria vaccine that has completed the clinical development process and received a positive scientific opinion from the European Medicine Agency EMA. RTS ASO1 RTS.S trade name Mosquirix, which was endorsed by the World Health Organization on Wednesday, October 6, is the first and to date only vaccine shown to have the capability of significantly reducing malaria and life-threatening severe malaria in tests on young African children. The vaccine acts as P. falciparum, the most deadly malaria parasite globally and the most prevalent in Africa. Among children who received 4 doses in large-scale clinical trials, the vaccine was able to prevent approximately 4 in 10 cases of malaria over a 4-year period. This is the first malaria vaccine that has completed the clinical development process and received a positive scientific opinion from the European Medicines Agency EMA. It is also the first malaria vaccine to be introduced by 3 national ministries of health through their childhood immunization program. More than 8 lakh children in Ghana, Kenya, Malawi have been vaccinated and are benefiting from the added protection provided by the vaccine as part of a pilot program. Other recent clinical evidences show that strategic delivery of the vaccine just prior to the high malaria transmission season in areas where malaria is highly seasonal can optimize impact and markedly reduce mortality, especially when combined with other recommended malaria control intervention. The global burden of malaria. Malaria is a life-threatening disease caused by parasites that are transmitted to people through the bites of infected female Anopheles mosquito. It is preventable and curable. Still, in 2019, there were an estimated 2 to 9 million cases of malaria worldwide, and the estimated number of malaria deaths that year stood at 409,000. Children aged 5 years are most vulnerable group affected by malaria. In 2019, they accounted for 67% of all malaria deaths worldwide. In 2019, India had estimated 5.6 million cases of malaria compared to about 20 million cases in 2020 according to WHO. How the vaccine can help. WHO's recommendation is based on the advice of its 2 global advisory bodies, one for immunization and the other for malaria. WHO has recommended that the context of comprehensive malaria control, the malaria vaccine be used for prevention of falciparum malaria in children living in regions with moderate to high transmission as defined by it. The malaria vaccine should be provided in a schedule of 4 days in children from 5 months of age for the reduction of malaria disease and burden. The next step for the WHO recommendation malaria vaccine will include funding decisions from global health community for broader rollout in endemic countries and country decision making on whether to adopt the vaccine as part of national malaria control strategies. A vaccine is a breakthrough addition to the malaria toolkit and can help get malaria control back in track. Countries that have eliminated malaria. Globally, the elimination net is widening with more countries moving towards the goal of zero malaria. In 2019, 27 countries reported fewer than 100 indigenous cases of the disease, up from 6 countries in 2000. Countries that have achieved at least 3 consecutive years of zero indigenous cases of malaria are eligible to apply for the WHO certification of malaria elimination. Over the last 2 decades, 11 countries have certified that the WHO Director General as malaria-free. United Arabs 2007, Morocco 2010, Turkmenistan 2010, Armenia 2011, Sri Lanka 2016, Kyrgyzstan 2016, Paraguay 2018, Uzbekistan 2018, Algeria 2019, Argentina 2019 and El Salvador 2021. Thank you.